Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
It was the Kennedys that, at least for me, were the political heroes that were part of my generation that inspired me the most.
The world at large, not just Americans, were energized and galvanized by the election of this highly charismatic, intelligent, very adept political leader, John F. Kennedy.
Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
JFK was, in his inaugural speech, thinking about passing the torch to new generations. So it was a time of optimism. People thought that they were going forward, and they were going forward with this young, handsome president and his young and beautiful wife and their children. They were sort of the ideal American family for people.
Well, I grew up an Irish American, and that meant something. On the bulletin board in our kitchen, there was a picture of Jesus, and there was a picture of John Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy captured the imagination of Americans in general, but of course for Democratic Party adherents especially.
Kennedy brought the spark that inspired a new generation of Americans to view public service as something good. And then his personal style, his ability to communicate and use television.
We stand today on the edge of a new frontier, the frontier of the 1960s.
Kennedy's slogan of the new frontier was intended to really capture a certain kind of ambition, a certain kind of optimism, and this was meant to convey that the 1960s were going to be an era of change. Some of that was going to be technological change.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Some of it was going to be spreading American influence throughout the rest of the world.
There are many people in the world who really don't understand, or say they don't, what is the great issue between the free world and the communist world. Let them come to Berlin.
Those couple of days starting in Dallas, we thought we were coming apart at the seams. The nation felt unhinged.
It's one of those moments in 20th century American history when if you ask anyone of my generation, the moment they heard, they can almost to the person tell you where they were.
You have to go back and say, what if Kennedy had lived? Would there have been Johnson? Would there have been Vietnam escalation? Would there have been Dick Nixon's rise? Would there have been Watergate, which then swung the pendulum to Jerry Ford and Ronald Reagan? The end of the Cold War, the collapse of the Berlin Wall, the death of Jack Kennedy changed everything for the United States.